Welcome to Create and Orchestrate. Today, we're going to talk about the power of Pareto. I'm Marcus Whitney, and this is Create and Orchestrate. All right, so big topic that has hit me left and right and front center over the last just 7 days is time. I've been talking so much about time this year, probably because I turned 40 and I'm facing my own mortality, but the concept of time being a currency that we don't get more of, right? I mean, it's not like money. We can go up and down with money and other things like that, but time, it's fixed and it's only going away. And so I think that when you get older, you start thinking about the way that you're going to use your time. And one thing that I have been thinking a lot about in the context of organizations is how an organization chooses to use their time, right? How a business spends their time. There's a principle that most of us have heard of called the Pareto Principle that was drafted after an Italian economist named Pareto, who wrote a paper that talked about how 80% of the land in Italy at the time that he was studying it was owned by 20% of the people. And then that was extrapolated to seeds in a garden, 20% of them actually yielding 80% of the crops, and so on and so forth. And lots of people have taken this 80-20 rule, and it might have even gotten to the point where it's so cliche that we don't really internalize what it means. I want to try to bring that back to front center real quick, just to emphasize how that impacts us as entrepreneurs and the decisions we make in terms of how we spend our time. So there's a reality that as entrepreneurs, especially if we're the founders of the businesses that we're in, we carry an inherent bias. And some of that bias is necessary, right? I mean, the act of creating something new is bringing something into existence that didn't previously exist. And so you have to believe in it. And belief, as much as we want to talk positively about it, it is a bias. It is a way to kind of wrap your head around something that isn't really here yet. So the problem with that is that when we are in that mindset of getting ourselves to believe in something that we're creating, we're in the process of creating, we have to believe in it. If we don't believe in it, no one else is going to believe in it. We aren't necessarily very analytical about how we spend our time 100% of the time. And quite often we will romanticize a particular activity. Usually it's something we personally value or we personally like, and we forget to ask ourselves whether that activity actually ties to the success of this thing we believe in so deeply, right? There are a few areas where I can think of this being more true than sales. People will spend forever on the copy of an email or iterations on a logo or, tweaking their website so it's just right because, they've told themselves that when they launch this website, all of a sudden it's just, they've created a fantasy that all of a sudden it's going to create all this business. And anyone who's been in business for any amount of time knows that's just not true, right? I mean, marketing and sales is hard. It is hard. It is hard to build awareness and interest and demand and drive people to actually buy what you have. And that requires intentional focus on activities that are going to create that reality, right? That reality. And I just know most entrepreneurs aren't doing that because most businesses are failing, right? Most businesses are failing. I've failed so many times at doing that. So I just want to kind of bring the Pareto Principle back into focus, make it something that's not so much a cliche, and make it something you think about every single day. How are you spending your time? It is likely that there are 20% of the activities that are going to net 80% of the positive results for this thing you believe in and are sacrificing so much for, right? So spend time being critical and assessing and analyzing how you're spending your time. Okay, it's great and important to lie to yourself in terms of this reality you're trying to create, but don't lie to yourself about the work you're doing day in, day out, and whether or not it's moving the needle or making your vision come true. All right, that's it. One love.